Hello, it's September 27th, and today in our New Testament reading we're looking at Matthew chapter 19. And yesterday we looked at the contrast between God's tender heart and our hearts, which are so often hard. And in many ways that sort of theme continues today in our reading. We've got these two things that are covered. The second one is this whole thing where the little children are near Jesus and his disciples rebuke them, but Jesus is saying, no, don't do that. The kingdom of heaven belongs to such as these. And what he's saying is not, because he's saying such as these, not the kingdom of heaven belongs to these. So he's not just saying that the kingdom of heaven belongs just to children, but what he's saying is, look how quickly you dismissed and you rebuked them, and you don't recognize that I have come for those that no one else is interested in. That's the good news. That's one of the reasons why the gospel is exactly that good news, is because he's come for us, even though we're nothing much in the world's eyes. He has come for us and he loves us. There's that tender-heartedness of God. But then in the first part of today's reading, we've got the continuing friction that, between the religious leaders and Jesus. It's all building up to the cross. That's where we're kind of fast-paced, fast-tracked towards that now. And the religious leaders are still looking for ways to, as it says in the passage today, to test Jesus. And at other places we read that they're trying to trap him. It's all going on. And so they bring him this question about divorce. And this is not a question that's come from their hearts. They're not looking to learn. They're not looking to understand. They're not wanting to really get a sense of what the kingdom looks like. This is very different to the questions of the disciples, who often get it wrong. This is purely, they're in it to test him and to trap him. And so they're asking about divorce, and they're saying, is it really right, as was the custom to, as so often, was to allow divorce for any and every reason? And Jesus says, no, what God's joined together, no one's allowed to divide. And they're like, well, how come then there's been provision made in the law given to Moses so that people can divorce? And Jesus really points us there, and this is a great message for us, whether we're looking at divorce or any other subjects. It's saying that basically your hearts are hard, and so sometimes things have been put in place to account for the hardness of hearts. And then he's saying, but actually there are certain times where it's acceptable, but this is the dream. This is the dream of marriage. Not only the dream of marriage, but then he also says that there are others that renounce marriage for the sake of the kingdom, which was completely revolutionary in those days. People did not stay single. So the idea that Jesus was saying, as he had stayed single for the sake of the kingdom, that others might do the same. This was revolutionary. And so there's a sense here in Jesus' message today that he's continuing to show us what the kingdom looks like. The kingdom looks like that the tender-heartedness of God. The kingdom looks, it's an invitation to those that wouldn't otherwise be considered. And it's an invitation for us to allow God to soften our hearts so that we can live the way that he's calling us to live, which sometimes is completely radical and sometimes is completely revolutionary. That's the gospel that we're called to, and we're going to need the Holy Spirit's help to live that out in all ways today. Don't get caught up on the divorce question. He's saying this is the high calling of divorce, but there's also the reality of sin in this world. What he's calling us to is to live that revolutionary, tender-hearted gospel. Have a great day. See you tomorrow.